Hey everyone, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update of where we're at. So, a week ago, we thought we might have been able to use the property at 3700 James Street, that the city would allow us to use that for housing people who are homeless but are working and have income. It looks like the property, the house, not the property, not the land, but the house was sold to the neighbor. And so the house is going to be removed from its foundation and transported to the lot next door and put on the neighbor's property. And so, Jim, in a previous video from last night, he explains our interaction with the city council over the last week, different members of the city council. So here's his video, and I'll just get it going here.
Hello, it's Jim from HomesNOW, Not Later. I just want to make a short video. I'm going to try to keep it under 5 minutes if possible. HomesNOW, Not Later is in a holding pattern right now. We built 2 homes. We've housed 4 people, and the way we've housed 4 people is the too many homes took. We put 1 person in each, and that opened up beds for a mom and her daughter and her newborn, which isn't born yet. She's pregnant. So actually we housed 4 people. My wife says 4.5, but so we're kind of in a holding pattern. We want to build another house out on Lumley, but we're waiting on water and sewer because we've decided that that's what they want to do out there, so we're trying to facilitate that. Also, as you know, we tried to get a house on 3700 James Street. We've been informed that the house is sold to be moved to the next door neighbors, but the land's still owned by the city. But the city's not going to let us use the land. Why? Who knows? We're still working on that. We met with 3 city council members. We met with April Barker, who was very supportive of what we're doing. We met with Gene Newton, which it was kind of like the feeling I got was okay or not okay. He really didn't have an opinion. And then we met with Michael Lindquist, who has the one that informed us that the 3700 James Street was no longer available because the city sold it. He also kind of, I don't know. He's the one that I talked to that I thought was the most politician out of all of them. A lot of talking out of both sides of his mouth. I'm just going to be honest, and people say don't be honest like this because it'll hurt HomesNOW, Not Later. Well, I'm not going to lie, so I just think it turned into a big, I don't know, but we don't want the money from the city. We just want, right now, what we want is we want you all to come out to City Council on the 11th. At 6 o'clock, we're going to have pizza out front. We're inviting all the homeless for free pizza. Then we're going to talk to the homeless and try to get them to go in and testify during an open testimony, public hearing. Because it's time that the city makes a path forward for HomesNOW. Even if we had somebody out there that had property in Bellingham that said we could build a tiny home on there, there is no path forward. And by what I mean by no path forward, there is no path forward for tiny homes. Even if we hooked it up to the sewer and kept the codes, there is no code for tiny homes. There, as far as I could tell, talking to 3 council members that we've talked to so far, there is no talk at the city level of doing it either. So what our objective is on September 11th at the 7 o'clock city council meeting is to have homeless and people that support HomesNOW and the idea of HomesNOW, to get them to testify and ask the city to make a path forward. We need some zoning change. We need some building codes change. I mean, is tiny homes the permanent answer? No, but it's part of the answer. So I posted clips all day today of other tiny home villages in other cities, and they work. So we need to make it work here. I'm putting out the call, we need funding also. We have enough funding right now. We could start building in Bellingham today if the code would let us. The problem is, what I think some people aren't understanding, even if we had a lot, technically by the building codes and that, we could not build. So we need to have some building codes and stuff. They can make adjustments. Oh my God. I know they can. It's not that hard. If we can take down signs and bridges and statues, we can surely help the homeless. Also, HomesNOW is proud to announce that we're now partnered up with North by Northwest. They're a nonprofit, and out of Ferndale that help. They're going to take care of all our donations. They're going to be gathering donations of food, clothing, sleeping bags, tents, furniture for the tiny homes if we ever get to build. So what I'm asking you all to do, if you really support what we're doing, then come out to City Hall. Support us, because that's where we need your support. We need you the people, to go to City Hall and tell them that you would like to see a path forward for HomesNOW. Thank you, and maybe Doug will be adding something to this video. I don't know. Thank you. Please go to HomesNOW, not later. Like us. Check out our website. Check out our YouTube channel. Check out our Twitter. We are everywhere. We're not going away. We got pretty discouraged by the news that 3700 James Street wouldn't work. And it was funny, they told us it wouldn't work, but they didn't give us any other ideas. It's kind of like they want us to go away, I think. But we're not going to go away. So, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, and that's what this video is adding a little bit more to the idea. So, I spent my Saturday looking at, the video decided to play on its own. So I had a chance today to look at to spend my Saturday reading the Bellingham Municipal Code involving building code regulations and zoning regulations. So, if we look at the building codes versus zoning. Now, this isn't on the Bellingham Municipal Code page or anything like that. This is just a general page I found where it kind of explains the difference between building codes and zoning codes. So it's important. So it reads, it's important to understand the difference between building codes and zoning, both of which dictate and limit the construction of tiny homes. Construction codes tell you how to build your house, explains Andrew Morrison of Tiny House Build. Zoning depends on where you build your house. Most of the country's local building codes have been adopted from the International Residential Code, IRC, for 1 and 2 family dwellings, which contain size specifications like rooms, except bathrooms and kitchens, which must be at least 70 square feet, while ceiling height must be at least 7 feet. Zoning regulations are based off of more local factors and determine the size requirements of your home based on what the home or what zone it's located in. You will need to call your local zoning or planning department to find that info. Many cities and counties, however, have minimum size requirement of 1,000 square feet or more for construction of new home on its own land, according to Tiny House Community. So basically, what that means is that a lot of cities have a minimum requirement for the size of homes, and that probably applies to single residential, which is one of the zoning regulations in the Bellingham Municipal Code. And one area of interest is that it says in the Bellingham Municipal Code that that under like a current house, like if you already have a house and it's a full structure in a single residential zone, you are allowed to have a 1-story detached accessory structure used as tool and storage sheds, tree-supported play structures, playhouses, or similar uses, provided the floor area does not exceed 120 square feet, and the structure is located in accordance with all land use regulations. So that's the building code for if you have a tiny home on an existing lot. And sorry, the photo viewer I'm using like wigs out when I'm trying to change photos, so, if I zoom in. So, but anyway, that's if you have a house already. So one thing we're trying to do is if there's anybody out there in Bellingham or Whatcom County that would be willing to host a tiny home on your land, we are thinking that because the first people we're going to help are people that are homeless but they have income. So the reason why we want to help that group out is because we want it to be self-sustaining. We're assuming we're going to keep getting no donations. We're assuming we're going to get no help from the city. We might, and if that happens, like, we'll just be able to do a better job. But if that doesn't happen, so we're trying to get, you know, the city has a policy, and this is what Michael Lilliquist told us, city council member, that the city has a policy that you help those that are the most desperate in need first, and then you move on to those who are doing a little bit better later. We think maybe it should go the other way around, where basically like people that are homeless or they're near homeless and they have income, they work full time or whatever, they should be helped first so that they can take a stress off the system, because we're putting up a nonprofit type of housing where you have 4 walls and a roof with electricity. It doesn't cost that much. It costs maybe like $6,000 total or $3,000 total to build the house, or it costs like $3,000 total to build the house with all the electrical in it. It would cost like $6,000 if it had its own water and sewer. And basically, that actual literal cost is not very much. The part that's expensive is the property value is always going up, so it makes the value of the property higher, and so hence vacancy rates are lower because the people that own property rent it out. And so it drives the prices up, and so because people are trying to make money off of the property that they have in order to be like a landlord and make money off of people like renting property to other people. And so we propose that we want to set up housing that is nonprofit based, and but we also have to fund ourselves. So basically, where we're starting out with, we want to help all groups, but what we're starting out with, because it is self-sustaining, is people that are homeless, but they're on the cusp of being able to help them quick. So people that are veterans, they have veterans benefits. People on disability, but they have a very low income from that, but they still have some income. And people that are employed, but the minimum wage is too low to support a normal standard of living. So basically that's what we're trying to do. And so with that 3700 James Street gone now, the city, Lilliquist said that that the house is going to be moved, and then the land, because it has no house on it now, is going to be kind of in limbo, and it's just going to be kind of not used. So what we're trying to do is change the zoning, or use another piece of land where the zoning of what we're trying to do is allowed. So I spent my Saturday looking at building codes and the Bellingham Municipal Code, and it was very interesting. Not really, but it was fine. But I'm looking at zoning and building code regulations. So another thing that I found is that the type of housing we're trying to do with these tiny homes, and again, we don't have to do tiny homes. If we find a normal size house, we can use that and then put a tiny home on the side. But if what it's defined as in our municipal code is like basically cottage housing. So this is what I found in regards to when it says like these types of buildings are not permitted. It's referring to a bunch of different types, including cottage housing, but I guess based on what I'm reading in the municipal code, what we are doing is just defined as that in the municipal code. So it says, that this chapter establishes special development, and this is under purpose of this chapter. This chapter establishes special development of regulations for a series of housing forms that are different than the traditional detached single-family dwelling unit. These regulations are intended to implement comprehensive plan goals and policies encouraging infill development, more efficient use of remaining developmental land, protection of environmentally sensitive areas, and creating opportunities for more affordable housing. The housing forms listed in this chapter are intended for use in city neighborhoods, urban villages, and Bellingham's urban growth areas, as described in BMC 20.28. And BMC stands for Bellingham Municipal Code 2028-020. Applicability. The housing types of this chapter are not permitted in residential single zones, neighborhood commercial zones, or property regulated under Chapter 1680 of the Bellingham Municipal Code, Lake Whatcom Reservoir regulatory provisions, except in those areas that were annexed into the city after 1995 with a mixed qualifier that allows multifamily residential in Area 8 of the Sunnyland neighborhood. The housing types in this chapter are permitted in all other zones that follow residential, including specifically designated areas of urban villages. In the residential multi-duplex zone, only smaller house, and cottage detached accessory dwelling unit, carriage house, and duplex are permitted. If the provisions of this chapter conflict with any other provision of the BMC 18, 20, or 21, the provisions of this chapter shall apply. So, basically it's saying that unless the zone is commercial or residential or single family residential, that the building of cottage homes is permitted. Now, cottage homes have their own restrictions. That's in the municipal code as well, but it's doable, and so it's something that we could actually do if we had the that would be within code and within zoning, if we had land to do it on. So, in the search for that, we found this piece of land, which is in the Puget neighborhood, kind of in my backyard, pretty much. I mean, it's by the skate park, it's by Civic Field, and it's kind of a wooded area. And basically, this is the description of the area: northwest wooded area along Moore Street. Issues with homeless camps in wooded areas. Potential for city-sponsored project. Requires rezone and short plat. Address neighbor concerns. Purchased through the general fund in 1955. Recommended action. Hold. Future development. Review annually. Incorporate into future area-wide planning. So this piece of land was... Oh, and the other part of it, too, is that the zoning is public recreation. Now, if it needed a rezoning, there is a category of zoning for public housing, right? So if it allows for public housing, or if it can be changed slightly to be public, housing, we could turn this area that is a wooded area that's 10.3 acres, we could turn it into what's described in the Bellingham Municipal Code as cottage housing. And so that allows for 8 units. If the lot was divided further, you might be able to get more than 8 units, but it would allow for at least 8 units that if they had a certain amount of space and a common area, that would be allowed under the current municipal code. As far as I understand, I might be missing something, but from what I've read so far, that's what it looks like to me. It's designated as public, so that's not specifically single residential or commercial. And it said in the codes here that you can do it in all other zones that are not residential or single residential or commercial. So this would fit the bill, right? That's what I think. I don't know. But I guess we'll find out at City Hall. But to that extent, we really are trying to get people to come out on September 11th. So on September 11th, 9/11, we're going to be at City Hall at 7 p.m. And we're going to start at 6 p.m. because we're gonna have pizza out front and stuff like that. But basically, we are trying to get people to speak up at City Hall because each person, if you want to talk on a subject that's unrelated to like the topic that they have on that day, each person gets 3 minutes to talk about anything that they want. So what we want to do is get as many people as possible that are interested to get to speak for 3 minutes on anything they want related to homelessness or what can be done to improve the situation. HomesNOW is trying to change the zoning regulations and stuff like that, or find land where within current regulations we would be allowed to develop and house people that are homeless. And a piece of land that was purchased in 1955, and the current problem is homeless camps. I mean, what better way to solve the problem of it than to give these people some homes, or other people who are homeless homes. And in that area, you'll no longer have a homeless problem. And so that, to me, would be addressing the concerns of the neighbors in accordance with the Whatcom County, Planning Commission's document on that. I don't mean to get too verbose here, but what I'm saying is I think that literally what we're trying to do is within the realm of what current municipal code allows for. If there's a reason why it tries to get stopped, or the city thinks it can make more money on the property, or whatever, I mean, that's a different issue. Maybe they don't think that solving homelessness or doing it for that property is of value. But basically, we just want as many people as possible to show up and say what they think. And that, if you're homeless and you live in a homeless camp, or you're homeless and you work, a lot of people in the city don't know that. Like, they don't. A lot of times, people are invisible. They don't notice you, and they don't notice that you're homeless. They just walk by you, and typically people that are the most worse off in society, they tend to not come to government functions that much. They tend to think there's nothing that they're going to do to help. We're screwed. Why vote? Nothing's going to change. Blah blah blah. But there is specific things that can be done to actually change the situation, and we hope that if the city council and other people in the city that are just in the audience are aware of the crisis, then basically maybe something will change, or maybe the skids will get greased somewhere, and something can get through. I mean, we're just trying to solve homelessness. We kind of are starting to realize why these problems are just getting worse, because there's just a lot of roadblocks in the way. But we're gonna make it happen, and we're not concerned. We're moving forward every way we can. And so here we go. What else do we have here? If you are a homeowner, the next thing. If you are a homeowner, one thing that is allowed under the current Bellingham Municipal Code is that if you're a homeowner, or at least as far as I know, we'll find out for sure if anyone says yes to this. But if you're a homeowner, you can have a satellite structure that's like a satellite bedroom or something like that. We're proposing that anyone who is willing to have a structure in their backyard, what we would require from someone living in the structure is a small amount of rent. The target number is probably $250 a month, or 30% of their income, whichever number is lower. But we'll start off. But we want to start off with somebody who can pay the full $250, and that money would go to the homeowner that the home is in the yard. Like, if the tiny home we build for free, the owner wouldn't be paying anything to build this tiny home. If we put it in their yard, we would ask that the rent from it goes to the homeowner whose yard it is. And so this is kind of an idea that has been floated in LA, and we thought maybe it would be a good idea if we could do it here, because what would happen is it would provide a little bit of income for someone who's a homeowner. Maybe their income level is maybe they're on a fixed income, something like that. And it would also provide housing for those in need. And they would have their own housing, so it's not like you're having to have a roommate and bunk up, and basically it's something that we want to float out there as a possibility that we'd be willing to explore if anybody's interested. But in the meantime, we're looking for land we can actually do this on and have it be a separate project on its own. But we're trying to get this going fast. We have the money to actually build a few of them right now. So if anyone is interested, we can seriously expedite this and house our third or fourth person. And so basically we need your help. We welcome any donations, but right now main thing we're looking for is land to build our next homes on, or an abandoned house that it might be up on tax lien or something to that effect. And we just want the city to know. So that's why we're gonna have our city hall on September 11th at 7 p.m. and let the city hall know, let the city council know what the concerns are. So thank you very much. Our GoFundMe, our Patreon, our PayPal, and our website are all in the description of the video. Thanks a lot. We're moving forward, and sorry it's taking so long. Take it easy.